Hi, today we're going to talk about suspension, kind of demystifying it. I'm going to hear with Jake, and Jake is going to take you through what all those little knobs and adjustments do on your rear shock and front shock so that you can do some more adjustments to tune your ride and get it customized for your riding preferences. So I'm going to turn it over to Jake.
So there's three basic adjustments that you have on most modern suspension forks. Most of them are going to be rely on an air spring, so you can adjust your air pressure for your spring, your compression, and your rebound speed. So those are your three basics. Your air pressure is usually going to be on the top of the left stanchion. Then you can pull the little cover off of it, and you'll have a Schrader valve you can connect a shock pump to and control your air pressure. Your air pressure will control how stiff the ride is for you. More pressure means a harder and harsher ride. Good for cross-country riding and not taking big hits. Lower pressure is good for a little bit softer ride and sometimes making sure you get the full travel out of your fork for the little bit bigger hits. Your compression is going to be the blue knob on the top right stanchion. So that's going to control how much the suspension wants to bob. The more you turn it clockwise, the firmer your suspension will be and the less it's going to bob for going uphill. Further counterclockwise you turn it, the better it's going to be on the descents. The more open you're going to get it, you'll be able to get that full travel out of your suspension. Your last adjustment is underneath your stanchion on the bottom. It's usually on the right side. It's a little red knob we'll show you. If you turn that clockwise, it'll slow down how quickly the fork comes back at you. And if you turn it counterclockwise, it'll speed up how fast the fork comes back at you. So depending on what kind of riding you're doing, you can control what kind of speed the fork is going to rebound with. For your front suspension, like I mentioned, on the top left stanchion, you'll have the valve cover for the Schrader valve that controls the air pressure for your fork. Take that cover off, put it somewhere safe, connect your shock pump, and set it to whatever pressure you need for your riding conditions. Again, Trek's suspension calculator is a great place to get some starting numbers for what kind of pressure to run. On the right stanchion, you've got your compression knob. On the newer Fox stuff, you'll have variable adjustment wherever you want. The older stuff, you'll have three distinct clicks on where you can put it. All the way forward or counterclockwise, we'll put it in the open position. Great for descending and on those long downhills so you get the most out of your suspension. In the middle gives you a little bit of dampening so that way you're not bobbing about when you're pedaling on the flats, but it'll still let your suspension go through its travel. And putting it all the way back in the closed position is great for a fire road climb back up to the top, riding on pavement, things like that. And the last adjustment that most forks will have, like this RockShox here, is on the bottom. There'll be a small anodized red one. This is your rebound for your fork. Again, turning it clockwise will make it rebound a little bit slower for you, which is good if you're riding in wet conditions or you're taking bigger hits like jumps. The little bit faster position or counterclockwise is good for a washboard or cross-country type riding. Somewhere in the middle is where most people will find, but again, Trek suspension calculator will give you a good number of clicks to start, where to set it up, and then you can always play with it there for how you like it. Most of the bikes we carry have a Fox shock on them, so the rear shock is going to work with a lot of the same adjustments that the front shock does. You got a small valve off to the side that you can control your air pressure with. Basically does the same things it does on the front, controls on how hard or soft your ride is. You've got your blue knob here, which will usually be indexed to 3 positions. Still your dampening, so again, that's going to control how much bob you're going to get out of the suspension under heavy pedaling. So it's good to turn that on your firmer settings when you're climbing, and turn it on to the lower settings when you're descending. It'll let you get the most out of your suspension when you're going downhill. Let your suspension work for you, not against you. And the last one is a small red knob that's usually kind of tucked behind the blue knob, and that will again control the rebound speed, so you can make sure that your bike's not going to be springing back at you too fast, making it hard to control. You can also make sure that it's going to come back fast enough that it's going to be able to take the next bump that's along the trail. This is the air valve, so underneath here is a standard Schrader valve that you can connect your shock pump to. You just take the dust cover off, set that somewhere safe. Attach your shock pump, which should thread on, and adjust the air pressure to whatever you need for your rider weight and rider conditions and how you like your shock to feel. You can get a start on Trek's website by going to their suspension calculator to get an idea of where to start if you've got a Trek bike. This blue knob here is your compression dial. So you've got 3 positions on most Fox forks. RockShox will typically have 2 positions. You can set that to wherever you want. Medium is a good kind of happy medium, gives you some dampening, but not so much that that it's going to be a stiff ride. The open position was great for descending, so you can get the most out of your suspension. and the closed position is great for your climbing and making sure that you get all your power down to the trail. The last dial is this red one that you can see kind of hidden behind the blue valve. That's going to allow you to control how quickly the shock rebounds from being compressed. Faster rebound means that it's going to come back at you faster, which is good for a washboard type riding condition. A slower rebound is good for the big hit, so it's nice, stable, and controlled coming back. It doesn't buck you off the bike.